Welcome back, 5 aces.
Battle control initialized.
Hey people, 5 official aces here. You may recognize the fact that I'm wearing a button shirt, which is something that I do like maybe once a year. It's about that time of year, because I've just been taking the final exams from my students, and went about as well as one could expect. Now let's move on to more more pleasurable things. No, it's all been good. The kids are also mostly healthy again. Let's wait for the next, I don't know, maybe a leprosy outbreak. I really don't hope so, but it's not out of question yet. We're not out of the woodworks in terms of illnesses, but so far it's looking good. So thanks to everybody who's shared their concerns and their well wishes. My kids are back to full health. I've fortunately didn't need to capture a hospital. They had their own self-healing regeneration activated. So TTTPPP has made me aware that apparently, as of the new release, oil derricks do explode a lot more violent, gory, and flashy manner than they did prior, which is a change that I completely missed. But let's get into the game. He is someone whose career we've been observing with great interest for the past, I would say, 2.5, maybe 3 years, and he's made it all the way into the RHL playoffs, and I think he's here at 3rd or 4th spot in the last season. It is Mr. Blackened, who has now recolored himself, his new color scheme being whitened. Just a perfect sort of camouflage, except it's, you know, the type of snow that the dogs did. The dogs did some unspeakable things too. It's a bit off the color scheme, not the perfect camouflage. Alright, and he is facing off against someone whose career we are observing with great interest for the whole grand total of 1 week. Mr. Creo, who has also managed to find, again, a lovely color scheme. So I don't know much about his playstyle yet, but so far for color schemes in 2 games, he's been 2 out of 2. He had purple last game, and it was really gorgeous to look at, and he does have a gorgeous turquoise. Like, is it turquoise? A little bit. Looks good anyway. Suits him well. He's a man of fashion, I have to say, or a woman of fashion, though the likelihood for that is slim. Right. Whiten opening up with a flak truck opener, and the Creo doing likewise. So light vehicle play is back on the menu, boys. Relatively uneventful early game, but the only real thing that happened is that Creo tried sniping the engineer with a really sneaky rifle that went all the way, but didn't go anywhere. That's fine. So both just sending out their flak trucks, protecting the derricks a little, and maybe try and tango. Both playing so defensively. Oh, there is Rifle Scout number 2 dying. At least he has intel on the base and knows that there is no shenanigans going on. Oh, the map in question is Yukon territory. We have established in prior casts that Yukon may refer to both Canada and the United States, which is something I learned at makeshift geography lesson. Fortunately, I'm not a geography teacher, but Okay. Blackened also managed to snag away the hospital. So he's an American, you know, he's gonna appreciate that healthcare. Alright, there's some 4 harvesters and a service depot. That is the 420 timing, the classic. Yep. Creo is gonna have his MCV leave the garage at exactly 420. And what's it gonna... Yeah, Blackened likewise. You know, Creo is 10 seconds behind, but that's fine. That's probably just a little macro slip up. Nothing to write home about. Both players should be absolutely dead even, and indeed they are. Look at the graphs. That's what happens if you just go for the maximum scaling build, and with 1 light vehicle. So a little caveat, little light vehicle for security. That's what happens if you just go mirrored builds on 2 pro players. Yeah, that was just a super uneventful early game, but gave us some time to talk shop. So it's sometimes not the worst. Both players securing the derricks, both players securing their expansion slots. And that is Blackened going to the right-hand side. And here we've got the first divergence. Creo is moving up north. This is a more aggressive position. You are straight up in your opponent's grill, but it also cuts down reinforcement routes. It allows your opponent to cut through the middle and basically cut off your base. And this is something that's a little bit more risky, I would say, than taking the first base on the left. So yeah, more like a proxy-based spawn. We've got the heavy tanks out, so everything should be completely on equal footing. Army graph, I think, is going to look very, very similar. Blackened has actually had 1k now, but that's just, you know, the different timings of one tank being out there 10 seconds earlier. That's it. Yeah, it's about to even up. My goodness. Nothing has happened so far. This is going to boil down to... There was one game that took 40 minutes and 35 of those minutes were just a standoff, both players waiting and biding their time. And then it was minute 40 and the game exploded. It was high against frame limiter maybe, if I remember correctly. Anyway, let's get back to the production tab. Look at that, all completely mirrored. I mean, sometimes it's a racks for one player and the power plant for the other, but in the grand scheme of things, just completely dead on even. Third base is now claimed by Blackened. Should be a similar timing. Again, Creo is opting for a more aggressive route. He didn't take the middle yet. He's spreading himself a little thin, which is a bit risky. Your opponent can go for easier flanks, but at the same rate, if you manage to get away with it... Oh, maybe he won't be getting away with that for a long time, because he's woefully underprepared for this push. At the same rate, Blackened Scout, he knows about this from the flak truck. Fair enough, flak truck did poke away at some of the flame towers. So this all now depends on who strikes first and who's going to find a window of vulnerability to exploit. Oh, the value. Value in the rocket launchers. I really don't think we've seen a game like this before. Look at the combat tab. That's nothing. Nothing has happened here in this game just yet. Nada. Niente. Is the flak truck going to be the first real unit that dies? Nope. It's going to be the tank detachment from Blackened. On the other side, that was a good push from Creo, knowing that basically the opponent is preoccupied with your army. Destroying the ore refinery and losing some units to friendly fire. But nothing too crazy. Super defensive position for Blackened, who is, in my opinion, even overreacting a little. He's now going to lose a lot of valuable time just trying to catch the army off guard, but they went the long way, and thus push repelled. And speaking of push repelled, nope! Big old nope button has been pressed, and Blackened is losing his little detachment here. He's trying to counter by finding a snipe on the little army from Creo. So far, Creo has gotten a little better, the better end in the trades, but not by a crazy margin. And I mean, look at this army headed your way. You are not going to be getting away with this, with these tanks. No grand tank heist is going to be had here. Ooh, that's only rifles. No rockets, no Zookas whatsoever. On the right hand side. Ooh, 2 harvesters down from Creo plus power down with the Tesla coil. Not too bad. You can now start activating the coil. Light it up. Light it up, buddy. Yeah, lost 2 harvesters. That was a good value trade for Blackened, who also must have the army superiority. He does indeed. But he's being caught off guard again. Maybe he can make up for the 2 lost war trucks. Blackened not reacting just yet. One of the harvesters going down, but that's still fine-ish. The refinery as well. I don't know, but he's got such a mass advantage. I feel the ball is firmly in Blackened's court to make something happen with his army now. Nice intercept. But this is not going to be enough. Blackened's army is not going to be able to stop this. Yeah, that's mostly rifles. And thus the army gets away with it. And here we've got a massive push. Ooh, the oil derrick though. V2 micro can change the tide of battle here. This would in theory be a massive overwhelming force for Blackened. But if he can land some good shots here. That wasn't it. That one was solid. But he's losing his... Yep, that's the heavy down. Yeah, this base is completely forfeit. He's trying to line up a yak, but it is not happening. At the same rate, though, his base is being dismantled by just a little skeleton army. I would be selling off here. Good on Creo that he saved the Coneyard. That's a big one. Tanks are all relatively low, but Blackened has been known to patch up his tanks. He's been known to take good care of his tank drivers. Alrighty. Here one of the tanks went down. Traded for another harvester. At the end of the day, Creo lost his entire base plus the tech tree, and there is still a massive army around for Blackened. So I like Blackened's position for the time being. He's in a really good spot to take this game off Creo. Creo is still looking. He is still not out of the game. Definitely not someone to throw in the towel early. Does decide to go for the refinery. Should get it in time before the army collapse comes in. Oh, he's committing to the army. I would have killed the ore refinery, honestly. Because it takes a long time and a lot of money to rebuild. Yep, still a lot of cash at hand here. I think that's it for Creo in game 1. I can't see him stopping this army anytime anymore. And that's going to be as soon as your opponent is on your weapons factory, or your war factory. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to hold this anymore. Sell off. That's good, that's like 1100 salvaged. Just trying so hard with the Flame Tower Micro, but it really isn't happening. Creo down to one base, down to a couple Flame Towers in random positions. G to the G. That was a long stretch of nothingness, just both players building up. It looked like AI. You know, the good type of AI. Macro AI. The one that hasn't been implemented yet. And from there on out, that was just both players trying to find flanks and angles. But Blackened, at the end of the day, getting the better end of it. Yeah, so Creo definitely can be defeated, but he's also someone who is not to be taken as a joke. So let's find out in game 2 if he manages to come back swinging against Blackened.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Alright, game number 2, and this is a map that I actually haven't casted yet. I have to download it from the resource center. That's how I know it is new and fresh. The name of the map is Military Mind version 2. Let's disable the shroud, admire the panoramic view. It's a bit of a brighter color scheme. I love that now you just have to guess the color scheme, or the tile set and mood from the lighting effects. Oh, this is one with 2 pillboxes. I like that idea. Makes it hard to flank. Gives you a little bit of an early warning outpost and makes infantry flanks harder. This is a tech structure centric map, and I really like that. There's an FCON that gives you an easy free gem mine expansion, but at the same time it can be a priority target. There are bunkers or pillboxes on both sides, so flanks are again a bit harder, but really rewarding if you get to the FCON. This is a cool map design. I like it a lot. There's also an oil derrick which has a massive ridge over it. So, this is such a technical map. Okay, I'm gonna gush about the map design here. Didn't expect that. But this is such smart placement here. Those barrels are basically... This is a shooting range, right? I think you can barely not shoot over here with rocket soldiers. Oh. The dog got the engineer. No, that was a medic. That was a medic being sent north. No! Has the oil derrick. That must have been an engineer. It was me hallucinating things. Alright, so let's go over this a little bit. And this is, I think, barely not enough to shoot over the ridges with rocket soldiers. And this is a firing range, basically. There is oil drums everywhere. And this is like one of the, like that one mission where you have to move out your infantry immediately. Or because the enemy is programmed to shoot, the AI is programmed to shoot at the barrels. And kill all your guys if they're not moving away from the starting location. Soviets 10 or something? I don't remember. Dog goes down. Light tank for Blackened. He tried to again go for the engineer. Okay, I really need to stop the map analysis for the time being because we're missing a lot of action here. Okay, but it's a bit calmed down now. So this seems to be a priority target for the refineries, obviously, and these oil derricks cannot be sniped all that easily. You'd have to get your infantry in position either here or here. And at that point you've already committed into your opponent's side of the map. So it was double refinery for Creo, who managed to basically go for an early game build. War factory first, double light tank for Blackened. A spicy build. It is actually an interesting theory. There's an interesting bit of theory crafting behind it. Your opponent is going to be light on rockets, courtesy of him having to invest into a camel and the dog. That is 400 credits, so it's probably one less rocket soldier out. Interesting. If that's the train of thought behind it, then that's kind of really smart. Okay, Derek's being taken in the middle. And Blackened crucially did get his FCOM and his oil derrick in. He did not get the hospital, but that's fine. Just a hospital, you know. Oh, is that a 5 light tank build? Blackened is going super hard all in. He's just trying something here. I don't know, he's not behind, he's ahead. So, a ranger as well? What? Holy smokes, what a cheese build. He's lucky that that Creo didn't scout that. But Creo is moving back regardless. Uh-oh. Oh, dog goes down. And in go the light tanks. What are they going to be targeting? Are they going to be hosing down the power? Maybe? He needs to crush all those rocket soldiers as soon as they come out. He hasn't done any structural damage just yet. That's going to be low power for a bit, but there was already a second power plant lined up. This was not successful in the slightest. Oh. Blackened, you chose to dig your own grave there. That was not even remotely successful. Gets one power plant. That is the extent of the damage that has been done. Loses 3 light tanks. Creo destroyed a little bit more. Despite him being on the defense. And now there's 4 harvesters for Blackened. There is 5 for Creo, and there is an MCV in production. So Blackened really far behind after that early game. It was a good idea to snipe the power. Problem was he spent too much time just trying to get down the rocket soldiers. Maybe he should have committed more. Rocket soldiers are relatively immobile, so he could have just circumnavigated them and sniped the power. At that point, Blackened would probably have to, Creo would probably have to take a longer time to recover. Nice idea in principle. Execution, dubious. Dubious at best, and this build has a spurious correlation with winning, if we're being generous. Alright, MCV's moving out. Creo has got space almost established. I think army value should still be in Blackened's favor. No, Creo just overtook him. One thing I can't recall is if the MCV actually counts towards the army value. I don't think it's counted as an army unit, right? Because the army of Creo looks a lot smaller. Maybe it's the tank numbers. There's only 1 medium out for Blackened. That must be it. Oh, also making nice use of the abandoned mine asset. Looks really cool, and I think it's a custom one, because that wasn't part of the originals as far as I remember. Yeah, this looks like it is a mashed together one of those big boulders and the mine. Okay, Blackened is gonna have a really hard time getting back onto the map, because there is already a base established by Creo, and it is in a really defensible location. Plus, he has just given away that he is here. Yeah, look at those explosions. They look so much punchier now. Punchier and meatier. I like it. I do not know if that's actually a visual thing only, or if that affects the area of effect as well. Still only 4 harvesters. He's base walking. Plus he's got such an interesting build. He's now transitioned over to 5 or 6 barracks. So he's producing almost at max capacity. But still, the income for Creo is so much higher. And 7 harvesters, 3 oil derricks. He stole away that oil derrick, huh? No engineer out. Ah, there it is. And there's a hospital in the middle as well. That one is more, you know, to each their own taste, but placing random hospitals in the middle, pretty whatever. I don't think any pro player goes for that unless they know it's 100% safe to take. Again, Blackened with a solid army, but look at the freaking heavy tank. Wait, did he get the snipe? Oh yeah. Got the snipe, and Creo is still on 3 derricks. What a terrible turn of events. Blackened going for a did he just cancel the radar? Did he place it? No sneaky radar here. This is, by the way, a good sneaky tech location. Alright, Blackened is trying to move in. If he is swift enough, he can actually get some really good DPS down here. And maybe get into the Eco Lines, and maybe even push away the Kanyard. He's trying to fight the army now. Tanks from Creo are relocating, and the front lines. Oh, Soviet steel is proving superior thus far. We're seeing so many blue pips die. My goodness! And in comes the flank as well. Oh my lord, that was a complete rout. That was a good flanking position, plus he had reinforcements coming from his base. Creo with the turnaround. I mean, he was already had an army. But this push looked scary. And he flipped it on its head. Flipping the script here. And being like, no, you're not the aggressor. You're in my territory. You're caught here with me. Blackened is trying to make something happen. Had to make something happen. But both players have sent their MCVs forward. And Soviets do have a good shot here with Tesla coils. The army is so much smaller. After that wipe. Oh, it's looking bleak. Flame towers are starting to dish out the deeps. And say hello to the Soviet tanks in your Eco Lines. You never want that. They're so bursty against harvesters. Oh. Soviet tanks against harvesters, unlike in real life. They're not sending tractors in Command & Conquer. Command & Conquer is serious business. The first V2 has joined the fray. So far, Creo has not had too great of a success rate with the V2s in the first 3 games that we observed. Maybe this one is going to be a bit better. MCV down, that is the base down, and G to the G. Man! Game 1, bit uneventful in the early game, but managed to transition into an action-packed mid-game. Game number 2, players going at each other's throats, and I think I may have found my new favorite technical map in this season's pool. This looks to be really well structured and well designed. It's not just random locations for the ore and for the tech structures. This is meticulously crafted. Oh, so what's the... Good idea to do the same thing again. Yeah, the rush was absolutely repelled. There was nothing that this rush did except killing 1 power plant. Alright, thank you for watching. This is basically my catch-up cast because I lost 4 inches, jeez. Because I didn't have time to cast the week prior due to my kids' health, which is fortunately back to full. They're back to being topped up. And at some point we must have gone through all the available sicknesses and germs, so I hope that day is gonna come soon, and then they're gonna have an immune system built up and ready to go. Looking forward to that day. Until then, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time with some more Command & Conquer. The holidays are close, so we're probably close to getting some more content done. Yep, I'll see you next time. 5 aces. Out.
Battle control terminated.